This is AJ from Sports Hub Media with Tim Kennedy, coach of Archbishop Mitty boys basketball. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining me. You've been you've been at Mitty for a very long time, but there aren't a lot of articles and things you can read about you. So I just want to learn more about you.
Okay, thanks for having me. I appreciate you having me on.
So, how and when did you start playing basketball?
I started when I was very young. My parents kind of first got me on a team when I was in first grade. So I've been playing ever since. And after I was done playing, I jumped into coaching. So I've gone all over the world. Basketball has been a great journey for me. Playing all the way through middle school and then taking me to high school. I was lucky enough to go on and play in college, and even luckier to go play in overseas in Europe. And having a 6 year career doing that, and then that led me to coaching. So it's taken me all over the world and all over the country. So basketball has been very good to me.
Um, Growing up, did you have any favorite teams or players?
Yeah, I grew up in the Bay Area, so of course the Warriors were my favorite. Uh, During my time, Michael Jordan was definitely the one I would look up to. But we had Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and then with the Warriors at that time, we had the Run TMC. So that
Mm-hmm.
was Tim
Yeah.
Hardaway, Mitch Richmond, and Chris Mullin. So those were some of the three of my favorites. But anything basketball related, I was always jumping on and trying to learn about.
So, um, it on one of the articles it says that you went to Loyola Marymount for college. Were there any other colleges recruiting you or any others that you wanted to play for?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to be recruited by some of the local schools like Santa Clara, Stanford, St. Mary's, and I was also like Gonzaga, Northern Arizona. So I had some great opportunities, but when I decided on Loyola, the coach there was a great coach, and he ended up leaving after my second year, but he's now a high school coach down in San Diego.
Hmm.
So it's kind of fun because we get to match up each other against each other because they host a tournament down there. So I get to end up competing against him now too. So that's been fun.
Yeah. Um, after Your bio on bloggers.com says that you played for six years professionally in Europe and for the Irish national team. What countries did you play in other than Ireland, obviously?
Yeah. So I was in Portugal for 4 years, and then I was in Spain for 2 years on the I was lucky enough to play for the first national team as well. My dad was born in Ireland, so that's where I was able to get dual citizenship. And with that, we were able to travel and play in different areas. Um, Iceland was one of them, and
Hmm.
Finland, and being able to go to all sorts of different countries, not only with the Irish national team, but with my Portuguese teams and Spanish teams. We would travel throughout Europe too.
Um, did you win
There you
anything,
go.
like a championship?
Uh, yeah, for in Portugal, my first year, we won the Portuguese championship in our in the country. So that was pretty great because that was able to get us into the highest cup for the next year. Um, so that was one of the great experiences winning that championship. Um, and then when I was with the Irish national team, we were able to advance to the second round, which was the first time that the Irish national team had done that. So that was a great experience as well. But then in our second round, we got knocked out. We were in a bigger and more challenging group with Germany and Croatia. So they kind of knocked us around a little bit. But yeah, so we were able to win one championship with my Portuguese team, which was quite an accomplishment.
So, how did you enjoy the overall experience with the
Oh, definitely. Being able to play basketball and get paid for it is it's not much work right there. It's a lot of enjoyment being able to do something you love, and also getting to experience traveling the world and getting to meet new people and just the experience of different cultures. I think it was a great overall experience just to open up your perspective on life as well and how other people are living and how we're all connected.
what brought you back here to the US?
Uh, well, besides my family and I loved the Bay Area, but I was also my last year I had just gotten married as well, so um, my wife actually let me go play one last year. We got engaged and then or excuse me, got married, and then I was supposed to be done, and then I got a call from my agent to play one more year with the contract, so I went and played. Uh, so having the family here, my wife here, wanting to get back, get started here was a big pull as well.
How did you come across coaching at Mitty?
When I returned from playing, I started coaching at Sarah High School in San Mateo, from where I went to high school. And I started coaching for the JV team, and I was also able to practice with the varsity team there. So I was not only able to coach my team, but also practice and learn from the varsity coach there, Chuck Rapp, who's still there now. So it was kind of a win-win situation where I was still able to work out and play, and also learn some of the coaching styles, and then also have my own team. So I did that for 3 years at Sarah, and then the Archbishop Mitty job opened up and I applied for it and was able to get it. And now that's been over 17 years that I've been at Archbishop Mitty. So that's kind of how I worked my way into the coaching.
Uh, Were there any other high schools on your coaching list?
I wasn't really, I enjoy the WCAL, the West Catholic Athletic League. Seeing that I played in there, it's one of the most competitive ones around in the Bay Area. And I grew up in this area, so I feel like I had a good feel for what it takes to be successful, and the different schools that competing in this group. So Sarah was one I went to school at, and then of course Archbishop Mitty had a great tradition. So um, knowing that I could have a chance to lead them was something I wanted to jump at.
How was it coaching the Gordon brothers, Drew and Aaron?
So I actually didn't coach Drew. I got there the year after Drew, but I got to know him pretty well just from his brother. So I got to coach Aaron all 4 years, and that was a joy to coach him because of his work ethic and how skilled he was. But he was just, as you can see, all the articles now that are coming out of how good a teammate he is. And that was one thing that always stood out to me is the first time I met him as a freshman was he had two things for me. He's like, hey, I just want to get better and I want to win. And he really threw himself into that, just getting better every day and just doing whatever it takes to win to help his team.
Did you expect Aaron to be this successful at the pro level?
Sorry, did I expect Aaron for what?
To be this successful at the pro level?
Sorry. Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think early on his first couple years, I didn't know if he would be as good as he was, but by his junior year, you could tell he was definitely special. Not only from athleticism, but from his work ethic and all the little things he did to help your teams win. And he was so gifted from on the defensive end. And you knew he was going to put in all sorts of time.
Um, how how was it when you got to see Aaron Gordon in the Nuggets win the championship courtside?
That was something special where, like I've talked about it, where, to have one of your players go play in college, that's pretty special. And then to have one of your players get drafted into the NBA, being a top draft pick, I think that's a pinnacle almost of, for a coach where one of your players is playing in the highest leagues. But to just top that off with winning an NBA championship and, being lucky enough to be there when it happened, because that was the only game, game six is the only game I got to see in that playoff series for them to win it on that night. It was a magical night, magical moment that, it's kind of, we like to say we hit lightning in a bottle right there because you can't ask for anything better with one of your players to have so much success on the highest stage in the basketball community. So just extremely proud of him and what he did to help his team and to be such a huge part of it too. Um, and to be one of the best teammates on that group as well was pretty special.
Do you stay in touch with him frequently?
Yeah, during the season, not as much just because he's busy with so many games. We're,
Hmm.
right in the middle of our season. During the off season, we always connect. Um, Unfortunately, it was rough connecting with him last summer because, his brother passed away.
Hmm.
So, but we usually get to one or two of his games when he plays the Warriors. This year was kind of the first year the games didn't match up with our schedules where I could watch them. So so I missed out on going to those games. So hopefully they make another run tonight, get a win, and extend their
Hmm.
series so they can keep playing. But I haven't been able to get out to any of the playoff games yet.
Yes. So, what was your reaction to Aaron Gordon's two big shots in the playoffs, the dunk against the Clippers and then the one against OKC?
Yeah, the dunk against the Clippers when I was watching it live. I was nervous that it wasn't going to count just because it was such a bang bang play. I didn't I wasn't sure if they were gonna, count it and if he had gotten it off in time. So that one I was kind of, hesitant to celebrate. So I kind of wanted to wait and see. So but once it went through, it was pretty special just because it'll be one of the most iconic plays in playoff history because no other game has ended in NBA history, at least with a dunk, at the buzzer. So
Hmm.
that's another special time of the year, time or moment for Aaron. And then watching the other game when he hit the big three, that just wouldn't work into, he has the dunks. He's known for the dunks. He's known for being a great teammate, but he has been known for shooting, and that's something that he's made a huge improvement this year on. So to be able to win a game with a big three, that was special. Where we're celebrating. My family and I were watching that one, and got real loud on that one because you knew that one counted. There was no debate on that. He got it off plenty of time. There's still a couple seconds left.
Hmm. And both of them were pretty big shots. And like if he hadn't made the dunk against the Clippers, that it would have gone to overtime. And if they lost there, they would have been down 3-1. And
Exactly.
OKC, it's nice to steal a game at their home court.
Definitely. And that OKC one, like you said with Houston, if you lose that game, that puts you at a huge disadvantage being down 3-1. And I don't know if you can overcome that. So that definitely was huge. And then for OKC, where OKC had control pretty much the whole game, to be able to steal that first one, is huge because they're so talented and they need everything they can. They're down 3-2. So uh, we need some magic tonight for him to steal out a victory again, to push it back to game seven.
Hmm. Which game winner was, which game winner did you like more?
Uh, Ooh, that's a tough one right there. I think the one I enjoyed the most was the three-pointer, just because I didn't mention this earlier, but I had the game on pause because we were trying to get our kids ready for bed and like making sure they brushed their teeth. And we said, hey, once you guys brush your teeth, we can come out and finish and watching it. And my phone was getting all sorts of text messages because I'm on a couple of group chats when we talk about the games with some of my friends and my coaches,
Hmm.
and it was buzzing nonstop. So I knew something must have happened where, maybe it was, something happened during the game where they were just calling something different, or something must have happened. So when we turned it on and to see him knock down that three, I think it's special just because, the my two of my kids were still up, and then we and my wife, we all celebrated. My one daughter was sleeping, and we woke her up with how loud we celebrated. So that's kind of a pretty memorable situation. And then they did a news article on it, and my daughter was, I talked about my daughter waking my daughter up, so she loved that part.
Was she happy or?
She was a little, she was happy but not happy, so she's a little embarrassed, but also enjoyed the fact that she was like, "Yeah, I was sleeping, and I love my sleep." So it was a good moment.
So how do you think Denver will do in the playoffs?
Well, they're down 3-2 right now,
Yeah.
so I think they have a huge mountain to climb because Oklahoma City is very talented, and
Hmm.
the last two games, Denver's given away fourth quarter leads. So I think they're playing well, but they just haven't been able to finish off games. And they kind of gave away a couple opportunities there. I think they have a great chance, but uh, they're going to have to make sure they can finish out games. They were having a hard time scoring in the fourth quarter of the last two games, so hopefully they're able to ready to knock down shots and keep that momentum going send it into a game seven.
Turning to Mitty's recently completed season, what were your expectations coming in, and how do you feel about this, how the season went?
Yeah, I think the expectations this season were that we were going to have a chance to compete at a high level, but we would have to really come together as a team and not have any. We would have to have minimal mistakes just because we lost seven seniors from the year before, and a number of them went on to play in college. So losing that much, size, strength, and experience was a challenge. But we still had some great players coming back. So I think we had high expectations, and we ended up in the middle of the pack. So we were a little disappointed with the way we finished. I think we had about 8 to 10 games where we lost in the last couple minutes. So I think we were frustrated from that as a coaching staff, as a team. So we really need to kind of clean up finishing games, kind of like the Nuggets there.
Mhm.
Um, but we have a younger group coming back as well. So we're excited about this year, and trying to connect and play together where we can finish out games. So that's going to be a really high priority for us to finish on that, to focus on that.
Do you have a good sense for your roster next season, and what are your expectations?
Yeah, so we have three seniors coming back who had played a lot of minutes last year. So we're gonna expect them to be the leaders, and we have some sophomores that played this year as well, who have some varsity experience where they're going to be expected to really jump in and increase their role with how much time they're going to have to play and how much leadership they're going to have to provide. And then we have some other guys coming in from the JV who have some size that need some sun. So we're excited about it, but I think we'll have a chance to battle and compete in all of our games.
Um, how has your has your coaching evolved over the years, and if it has, how?
Yeah, I think you stick with a lot of the basics that that you've done with, throughout the years and playing career. You kind of, but I think it also evolves a little bit from style of play a little bit. But the main things that always come back to is like, hey, what kind of work ethic does your team have? Are you able to rebound? Are you able to defend? How well do you run the floor? So some of the basics that we've always, stayed true to, always stay the same, but the some of the X's and O's you change up a little bit as the game changes. So I think that would be the biggest thing is that the way we've defended has changed a little bit too as teams become better offensively. We've gone so from an example would be some of our defensive schemes. We've done more switching recently in these past few years than we had in the past, where usually we'd fight through screens. So that's kind of how the game's evolved a little bit with that. Offensively, we still want to, get the ball into the post, but we also need everyone to be able to play on the outside as well, because, be able to shoot it because a three-point shot has become such a weapon. So trying to balance that, but it all comes back to the basics. For you to be successful, you gotta be really tough. The toughness part of the game with, being able to defend, rebound, and run as hard as you can. Those will always help you be in games and fight for it.
Who has been an influence on your coaching style?
I think everyone I've been exposed to as a coach has had a little bit of influence on me where I've tried to take different parts of coaching styles and kind of make it my own. My high school coach John Grossi was a big influence for me, just from his competitiveness, his fire, really instilled in me. My college coach John Olive, who was with me for my first 2 years, and what the kind of professionalism and attention to detail that he provided, and just the player development, going on to my professional career and just playing for so many different coaches and watching the way they connect with their players, the good and the bad. So you kind of like recognize what they do well and you want to kind of build on that. And also when it doesn't work out, you say, okay, I don't want to do that because players don't connect with that or it doesn't help players be successful. So really trying to steal the good stuff and make sure I'm aware of some of the some of the skills that they use that don't help a player or help a team to a high level. But then also when I was coaching at Sarah for the JV, Chuck Rapp was a huge influence because I was able to practice and kind of learn from there. And there's just a lot of coaches that you study and watch. I feel like anyone can be a mentor for you, even if they don't know it. So trying to pull things from other coaches who have been really successful and study them that you can pull things from.
My first podcast interview was with Noah Robarski, coach of Menlo School's girl flag football team. It was his first year as coach this past season, and I asked him what it felt like to win the championship in his first year. And he told me a story about at a previous coaching job. His his team did really well, and everyone was congratulating him on winning. The record was 8-2, but he didn't feel like he did that great of a job because he didn't really develop the kids as much. On the other hand, there was a different season where the team's record wasn't very good. They were 5-5, but he was proud of the growth that he had on the and excellence that and improvement with the players, and he thinks that team was better than the 8-2 team. Do you have a similar type of experience where the record wasn't all that good, but you felt like you developed the players well?
Yeah, there's been numerous occasions where we haven't won at the highest level, but you feel like you maximized the growth of your team and got out of the full potential out of your team. I think that's what you're trying to do as a coach and try to pull the best out of the players. So I definitely think there's been times where, you know, we've won at a high level numerous years, uh, and sometimes we just played better and or not so much got lucky, but uh, we just performed better on that day than the other team. But as a whole, like I remember one group that just continued to get better. They were they love to come to practice. They love to get better every day, push each other. And those are those teams that you feel special about because there's that connection, there's that growth. Um, and you may not win but they left it all on the court and you knew you got the best effort and got the best out of each and every one of them. And those are special moments for from coaching perspective and for team perspective. And those ones hurt a lot too because the players have thrown so much into it that they care that much. So those are the ones where those ones are special.
What is your most memorable moment as a coach?
Oof. There's numerous ones. Of course, the ones that teams that you win with at a high level. Of course, with Aaron Gordon's teams, we won two state titles.
Mhm.
Those were pretty special, especially when you're when you upset a team. I think one of my first year or my second year, it was Aaron's freshman year. We were playing in the CCS championship against St. Francis, who was undefeated, who we had lost to twice, and we were able to beat them in the CCS championship at Santa Clara University, where we weren't favored to win. We had already lost to them a couple times, and they were really a powerhouse, and they didn't lose in league. Um, but everyone kind of threw themselves into the game and uh, into the schemes that we were trying to do, and they really performed at a high level. So that was a special one because that was our first CCS championship when I was coaching. So you always remember that first, and especially when you're not the overpowering favorite, and it's kind of it's not expected. That was a special moment. But there's been numerous ones with different teams. I think you can't. It's hard to categorize each one just because this is my 17th year. So I think each team has a special journey. Um, but that would be the jumps off the page right away.
What year was that when you guys won the CCS?
That would have been 2009, 2010, I think. So I'm getting old. I'm losing my years now. That's getting old there.
How about your most memorable moment as a player?
As a player, I think I definitely want to say it was in Portugal when we won our championship because the whole town was there. We were in a small town called Ovar, and winning the championship. They played best out of five series, and when we secured it we won it on the championship, the third game to seal the victory. I just remember the just people streaming onto the court, and just ripping your shirt off, and just because they wanted your jersey, and then celebrating in the streets where you went down to City Hall, and we celebrated throughout the night, and it was something that was our team came together to win that championship. It felt like we all connected on that, and then to get rallied around by a whole town. It was a special moment where you can feel how basketball brought everybody together, and we were a whole mixture of team from all sorts of spots.
How about your proudest play as a player?
Oh, proudest play. Ooh. Um, I don't know if I have a specific play in mind, but I think the proudest I was when I was in at Loyola Marymount. Uh, I was voted the teammate that they would want to go to battle with the most. And I think that was the most rewarding thing that as a teammate you could be voted for, where they trusted you, they know how hard you were going to work, and that comfort level with who you are as a competitor. That would be my proudest moment as a teammate, where they trusted how hard I worked and how I had their backs. And that's how I want to coach as well, where I want us to be the hardest workers. I want to have each other's backs and not be phased by anything.
Um, Outside of basketball, what would we find you doing?
Uh, probably hanging out with my kids. My daughter's into dance, so she doesn't want me doing any dancing with her. But my other daughter plays soccer, so I'll play some soccer with her. My son is into basketball and flag football, so we'll play those sports. So I'll be driving around doing those things. I also like to work out and read, so those are my kind of my hobbies. Trying to stay in shape so I can still run around with these guys. And I'm always trying to read, trying to learn on, from a leadership standpoint and also just a personal growth as well. Just always trying to find ways to get better.
And I have one last question for you, since time's running out. Will will we ever see you in the coach ranks in college or pros?
I always say never, but I don't plan on anytime soon. I'm really excited where I'm at Archbishop Mitty. We have a great pro support from our organization. There's family friends there that we have. My seventh graders are on their way there as well. So uh, I don't want to say never, but I don't see myself going anywhere anytime soon. I really enjoy the high school level. The college level has become such a business that I don't know if I want to get involved in that just because of the transfer portal and all that, the madness that it's becoming now. But of course, it's basketball and it's coaching, so you never know. I could make that jump, but I'm very, very happy where I'm at, and I love what I'm doing.
Well, Mitty is lucky to have you, and I'm looking forward to watching more seasons and games. So, thank you again for joining me, Coach. It was a very nice.
Having me, that was appreciate you doing the interview there.
Mhm.
Did a great job.
Okay, bye.
Bye bye.